Have I abused your trust? Countless people have written me emails. Thanks, Niels, for the test of the Z900. I bought mine because of you. But now I have to change my opinion. How and why? The answer is in this video. When I first rode the Z900 back then in Spain at the press test, I really raved about that bike. And then I got a huge number of messages. Thanks, I bought mine, sure, and people were happy. Some went for the SE like you, others for the standard version. Up to now, I never had anyone write to me, you're a liar, that's not true, I'm unhappy now. So in that sense, I think I still did a lot of good for many people. Best regards go out to Switzerland, to Germany, to Austria. But now, after these 2 weeks, I have to put my opinion a little bit into perspective, though at the same time I want to fire off another hymn of praise for the Kawasaki Z900 SE. So in these past 2 weeks I've ridden quite a few naked bikes, in total 5 different ones, on the Rhine route on country roads, and here on the supermoto track. My colleague Martin Bauer, for instance, is riding the MT-09 SP right now, which I also rode just a few minutes ago here in direct comparison. Same tires, Bridgestone S23, same asphalt temperature, 36 degrees, and yes, same conditions and mindset. What do I have to say? What do I have to take back? Back then I raved that the Z900 SE, or the Z900, is the best naked bike and far above the others. But what I didn't keep in mind back then is how strong the competition has now become. Especially, for example, the new MT-09 SP, but also the 990 Duke and the Hornet 1000 SP. That means the rivals are incredibly strong. So the choice is huge and the decision very, very difficult. Really difficult. So I probably wouldn't recommend it to as many people as before, but I would recommend it to those looking for a solid, classic naked bike. And because the MT-09 SP is riding in the background right now with its slightly different seating position, a bit sharper in its ergonomics, that's why to me the Z900 SE is a very, very good all-rounder. That's the recommendation I can still give, and in the past few weeks I've grown even more convinced of it. For me, it's the bike with the broadest range of use in terms of rider level, and I think that's what makes it a bestseller. It feels a bit more compact, the handlebar is a bit more compact, it has less power than the Hornet SP, less power than the Suzuki GSX-S, but the amount of power is still big enough to make me break a sweat and grin in the saddle. That means you can easily use it as a riding school bike. This 4-cylinder responds silky smooth, pleasantly harmonious, confidence-inspiring. On the other hand, it delivers enough adrenaline and fun that even I, or Martin Bauer, have a great time with it. And that spread, that's Kawasaki's secret to success. And that's why it's still a truly fantastic tip from me. Compared to the other naked bikes, it's certainly the one that in most riding situations feels super agile, super easygoing. But when you put it in a direct comparison, it comes across a bit more sluggish and heavier, especially against the Duke 990, especially against the MT-09 SP. Those two are the real handling wonders. That's just from the handling character. But I wouldn't mark that down as a negative here because on the other hand, it feels very confidence-inspiring and stable without being cumbersome. And that really plays into its accessible character. The electronic rider aids are on a very good level. The traction control doesn't hold me back. Throttle response is great. The 6-axis IMU does a superb job. But if you're riding in a very, very sporty way, so on the racetrack or at a safety training center or here on the supermoto track, when you brake hard and aggressively both front and rear at the same time, then the system reaches its limits. And then you notice, okay, this isn't a race bike, it's a good road bike. And that's where other systems like KTM's or Yamaha's MT-09, which you just heard in action, I actually saw it too, and I almost fainted. Those systems are different, meaning this electronic package here, both ABS and traction control, at track days, it's not just at the limit, but it actually becomes a restriction. Whereas with the Duke 990 and the MT-09 SP, the electronic rider aids on track or on the supermoto course are a real benefit and also help very experienced riders. That's the new insight I've had today. The sportier you are, the more an MT-09 SP is the better choice. The more power you're after, then you should reach for the Hornet or the Suzuki GSX-S. And if you want that lively, playful character, then the KTM is a fantastic choice. So yeah, I've already lined them up for you, but maybe all this rambling was pointless anyway, because down below in the points table or in the ranking chart, lap time chart, you'll see in a moment how these 5 naked bikes stack up. I don't know in what order we'll put them online, so you might have to check the list a second or even a third time. But now we've got 5 bikes, all with the same Bridgestone S23 tires, all ridden on the same day. And I think those lap times are really exciting reading for you. But let's see, where does the Z900 SE end up?